High-level overview. In this deeply enlightening and transformative episode, Dr. Caroline Leaf, a cognitive neuroscientist and communication pathologist, unpacks the real science behind mental health, revealing how we can actively rewire our brains through intentional thought management. Blending neuroscience, quantum physics, and decades of clinical experience, Dr. Leaf introduces her Neurocycle method, debunks the myth of chemical imbalances as causes of depression, and empowers listeners to become agents of their own healing. With practical tools and paradigm-shifting insights, this episode dismantles the stigma around mental health and replaces it with clarity, hope, and agency. This is a summary of How to Heal Your Mind and Improve Mental Health based on neuroscience with Dr. Caroline Leaf from the School of Greatness podcast, where we break down the key insights, ideas, and takeaways from this content, giving you the gist so you can decide if you want the rest. The full summary is available on perfectsummary.com, and you can listen to the podcast Perfect Summary on all major platforms or watch it on YouTube at Official Perfect Summary. The discussion explores the difference between the mind and the brain and why it matters, why depression and anxiety are not diseases but signals, Dr. Leaf's 5-step neurocycle process to rewire the brain, how to reverse the biological aging process through thought management, why 21 days isn't enough to build a habit, and why 63 days is the new gold standard, how unprocessed trauma can alter brainwaves, DNA, and even glucose levels, the science behind emotional self-regulation, identity reconstruction, and lasting change, why positive thinking alone doesn't work, and what actually does. # deep dive into main ideas. Your mind is not your brain, and it controls everything. Dr. Leaf begins by establishing the critical difference between the brain and the mind. The brain is a physical organ. The mind is a gravitational, electromagnetic field that surrounds and flows through the brain and body. The brain cannot function without the mind. The mind directs the brain. Thoughts are not produced by the brain. They're formed through the mind, which constantly thinks, feels, and chooses. Even if the body is unconscious, the mind is still working in the background. Once the mind goes deaf, the brain is just matter. You wake up with your mind, you go to sleep with your mind, and you eat with your mind. If you don't manage it, it manages you. Mental illness is not a disease, it's a response. Dr. Leaf strongly opposes the notion that conditions like depression or anxiety are neuropsychiatric disorders caused by chemical imbalances. Instead, mental illness is a normal human response to life, trauma, stress, and unprocessed emotional patterns. Depression is not an identity or a permanent condition. It's a symptom and a signal. Labeling people can rob them of agency, hope, and healing by suggesting they are broken or diseased. She urges society to stop medicalizing misery and start managing it through structured, intentional thought work. The Neurocycle, a 5-step system for healing the mind. Dr. Neurocycle method is a daily mind management practice rooted in neuroscience. It can decrease anxiety and depression by up to 81%, reverse damage to telomeres, biological aging markers, restore balance to chaotic brainwaves. The 5 steps. 1. Gather awareness. Recognize emotional, physical, behavioral, and perspective signals. Example, I feel anxious. My chest is tight. I keep snapping at people. I feel hopeless. Ask deep, curious questions. Why do I feel this way? What triggered this? Where is this coming from? Write. Use metacogs, a non-linear journaling format that helps cluster thoughts and link patterns. 4. Recheck. Reframe what you wrote. This thought isn't me, it's a response. What's the root? What can I shift? 5. Active reach, a small daily action to reinforce the new pattern, e.g. a mantra, an email draft, a boundary, a new behavior. Thoughts are real. They occupy mental and physical space, but they can be changed intentionally. Why it takes 63 days, not 21, to change a pattern. Contrary to the popular myth of 21 days to build a habit, Dr. Leaf's research shows that it takes 21 days to break down a thought and build a new one. But it takes another 42 days to automate that thought into a long-term behavior. Without the final 42-day reinforcement, step 5 of the Neurocycle, habits do not stick and old thought structures reassert control. She recommends 15 to 45 minutes daily for 21 days to break down and rewire the thought. 1 to 2 minutes daily for 42 days to reinforce the new wiring. Trauma changes your brain and DNA, but you can reverse it. In her clinical trials, people who practiced the Neurocycle for 9 weeks saw biological age decrease by up to 30 years. Telomere length increased, a sign of youth and cell health. Blood glucose levels, inflammation, and cortisol all stabilized through mental management alone. One subject had a biological age of 70, while only 35 chronologically, due to trauma and unmanaged mental patterns. After 9 weeks of neurocycling, her biological markers matched her chronological age, and her depressive symptoms were gone. Healing requires time, grace, and deep work. Dr. Leaf emphasizes that the process will feel worse before it feels better, because you're surfacing painful truths, must be done with love, curiosity, and gentleness, should never be rushed or forced. She also discusses addiction not as a disease, but a coping mechanism. When trauma is too great, people numb themselves through substances or behaviors. Healing begins with safety, storytelling, and small steps toward insight. You don't have bipolar. You're experiencing a pattern of intense mood swings. Let's unpack it. Daily mental health hygiene. Protecting the mind. Mental hygiene is as important as dental hygiene. Dr. Leaf recommends self-regulation every 10 seconds. Pause, check your thoughts, redirect if needed. Spend 30 to 60 minutes per day learning deeply about something new. This boosts mental resilience, strengthens new dendrites, and sharpens focus. Permission to feel. All emotions are messengers, not threats. Noshed Outrow reflection. Dr. Caroline Leaf reframes everything we think we know about mental health. Rather than being passive recipients of broken brains, we are active participants in a biological masterpiece, our minds. With compassion and clarity, she empowers us to see pain as a portal, chaos as a cue, and every single thought as an opportunity to heal or to hurt. Her message is both scientific and spiritual. You are not your trauma, and your mind is stronger than your circumstances. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a summary of How to Heal Your Mind and Improve Mental Health based on neuroscience with Dr. Caroline Leaf from the School of Greatness podcast. Check the links in the description to get access to more summaries. This summary came from perfectsummary.com, your go-to for podcast recaps, book breakdowns, and video summaries that give you the gist so you can decide if you want the rest. You can listen to the Perfect Summary podcast on all major platforms or watch our content on YouTube at Official Perfect Summary.